Good morning. Welcome to Walking Boxing. It is Wednesday, September 24th, 2025. And I must admit, I sort of jumped out the bed ready to go this morning. Didn't check the weather, just chucked the hoodie on and the jacket. That's what I've been used to. And I got out walking and I thought, geez, it's a little bit warmer than what I would normally expect. And I checked the temperature, and it's probably, I think it's about 11 or 12 degrees, which is about twice as much as what it normally is. So just a little bit warm at the moment, a little bit of sweat underneath, but we'll see how it goes. It's too late now, I'm halfway home. Let's get into it. On this day, let's go back to 1994, and in one of the biggest upsets in heavyweight boxing history, Oliver McCall knocked out Lennox Lewis in the second round to become the world heavyweight champion. The fight took place in London, England. It's hard to believe it was 31 years ago. I do remember it like it was yesterday. Goes to show how old I'm getting. But you remember the rematch as well. Lennox Lewis really, well, it was probably one of the most bizarre fights you'll ever see, because Lennox Lewis really put it on Oliver McCall, who then proceeded to have pretty much a nervous breakdown in the ring, and probably it was one of the most bizarre things you'll ever see. It's probably one of the most tragic, I suppose. Maybe that's probably going a little bit too far, but really, really sad. Oliver McCall obviously had some real issues in his life, and you remember he walked around the ring. He wouldn't go back to his corner in between rounds. His cornerman, I think it was George Benton at the time, just stood in the corner with his hands on the ropes. I think maybe he knew, well, I'm hoping maybe there were some signs in training camp or whatever, but he just motionless, expressionless, just put his hands up on the ropes and just let him walk around the ring. He knew that he wasn't going to come back to the corner. There's obviously some issues between fighter and trainer or whatever it might have been, or maybe he just knew that Oliver had some problems and knew there's not much he could do and just let him do what he wanted to do. But he walked around the ring in tears. And then was proceeded to, well, the referee had no choice but to really stop the fight, did he? So Lennox Lewis regained the world heavyweight title in the rematch. And Lennox Lewis, to his credit, he lost the title also to Hasim Rahman, and then came back and knocked him out in the rematch as well. The one good thing about Lennox Lewis, he avenged his losses, and one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. That was in 1994. Then in 2011, Mexico's Adrian Hernandez defended the world light flyweight title with a knockout of South Africa's Gideon Buffalese in the second round. That was in Mexico City. All right, so I thought today, I'm going to go through the top 10 Aussies, and I want to go through my top 10, maybe a couple others around the mark, and just rate them as far as the top 10 goes, but also where I see them in the world scheme, and are they realistically world title chances, and some of the opportunities that might come their way, which is always fraught with danger, but we'll see how we go. But before that, first, I want to take a deep breath, and I want to touch on something that you guys don't want me to touch on. It's a Jake Paul, Gervonta Davis fight. I don't want to go into it, but numerous people message me and comment on the videos. Why haven't you mentioned Paul versus Davis? Well, I think real boxing fans will probably understand why I haven't mentioned the fight, but has got a pretty solid undercard. But I'll just give a quick overview and then it's be done. Now, before I start, I didn't see the press conference. I didn't see anything that happened. I don't want to see. Actually, I lie. I saw a brief snippet on Instagram or something where they were facing off and the size difference and all that sort of stuff. Look, the first thing I'll probably say is I have no idea why they've even made this fight, this exhibition fight. It's ridiculous, but obviously there's one reason, that's money. But the thing for me is I don't understand why Jake Paul picked Gervonta Davis. Davis is not a household name outside of hardcore boxing fans. So I just don't get it why he would pick him. I understand Tyson, I understand all those MMA guys, I get that. Even Julio Cesar Chavez, you could play on the son of a legend aspect, and Chavez being a colourful character himself can, attract a lot of fans in Mexico and everything else. I get that. But Tank Davis for me makes absolutely no sense to fight even an exhibition with, apart from the money. Now, apparently the rules are going to be 10 3-minute rounds, 12-ounce gloves, and the weight limit is 195, which is Jake Paul only taking off 5 pounds. And Tank Davis, wait for it, going up 60 pounds. What's that, 49, what's that, 50, what did I say? 60, so what's that, 40, just trying to think of is it about 30 kilos, 28 kilos, 29 kilos? That's a lot of weight. Forgive my sums if I got that wrong. I'm thinking on the fly here. But either way, it's a lot of 60 pounds is what he's going up. Now, I know he probably walks around at probably, I don't know, 150, 155. So, but still, he's still going up 40 to 45 pounds, which is about 20 kilos, even on his just natural walk around weight. Now, Jake Paul, you'd think he probably walks around at, I don't know, about 220, 210, whatever it might be, 100 kilo, 95 to 100 kilos. Look, the one thing I'll say about the fight is, even though I think it's ridiculous, but good luck to them. They're going to make money, and they'll probably be one of the biggest viewed fights of the year. Anything with Jake Paul is going to be massive. All that said, I think if it, even though it's an exhibition, I think actually there's going to be judges too, by the way. They're going to give which doesn't make sense. They're going to give a decision, but it doesn't actually go on the records, whatever. But I think, regardless of the weight and the size and the height and reach and all that sort of stuff, that if Tank Davis is allowed to be Tank Davis, to actually go out there and fight like he would and to win, I think he knocks Jake Paul out. I do. I've got a feeling that won't be the case, though. I think there'll be a nudge, nudge, wink, wink, no matter what happens. Let's make Jake look good. Tank, you do your thing. You can, do what you normally do, but just don't hurt our boy, and we'll pay you well. Now, they can do anything they want. Really, it's an exhibition fight. It's for purely entertainment purposes, so they can structure it however they want. They can start doing WWE in the middle of it. No one really cares. That's what it is. But that's my thoughts on it. If you want me to break it down, that if Tank Davis is allowed to be Tank Davis, it's the old 1-2 Timmy Zoo all over, regardless of the weight difference. Because Gervonta Tank Davis is an elite, world-class, arguably pound-for-pound fighter in the world. And Jake Paul is a D-grade, half-wit YouTuber who can't fight. And I'll stand by that. Yes, he beat the mighty Mike Tyson. That puts him up in the talks of, Hall of Fame recognition, all this bullshit. Nah, he can't fight. He can't fight. I'm just saying. And I think you'll agree with me. I've already given up about 6 minutes on this, by the way, so I'm not going to give up too much more. But that's my thoughts on it. Good undercard, though. Four world title fights on the undercard. I'll just quickly go through that. We have, who is it? Hang on, we'll go through. We've got Alicia Baumgardner defending the super featherweight titles against Layla Bodine. Then we have Gary Antoine Russell up against Andy Hirioka for the WBA super lightweight title, which will be a good fight. Ali Scottney, I really like Ali Scottney. I think she's probably, in my opinion, the best female fighter, apart from Katie Taylor, on the planet at the moment. She'll fight Mayeli and Flores for the Undisputed Bantamweight Championship. Super Bantamweight. I was just going to say, wasn't Nix the Bantamweight champion? So Super Bantamweight Championship. And Yocusta Valley will put the minimum weight title on the line against Yadira Bostula. So 4 world title fights undercard. It's probably, I haven't even looked at it. I'm assuming it's going to be on Netflix. So it's free. That's all we worry about. I'll still watch it. I don't care. But that's my thoughts, okay? And I've pretty much wasted a half of a whole episode on that peanut and this garbage fight. But there you go, for everyone that was messaging me and asking, there's my thoughts on it, okay? All right, so let's get into the Aussies. We'll go through the top 10 pound for pound in my thoughts anyway, and where I think they fall in the scheme of things as far as their chances of world title stardom, or whatever you might want to call it. So, I mean, the number one, actually, we'll start at, I'm going to say, it's easy with Jai Pitara at number one, but let's start at number 10. Now, these are all, there might be another couple outside this. This is just 10 that I've put together. I've got Nikita Tszyu at number 10. Now, at the moment, he is ranked in the light middleweight division. He is ranked 11 with the IBF. He's ranked 15 with the WBO. Way too early to say. I know he's ranked, so you could get a world title shot tomorrow. One of those champions could say, yeah, I want a voluntary, and there you go. But way too early for Nikita. I think is he capable of winning a world title? I don't think so. No. I'm going to say no to Nikita. Look, if he beats Michael Zarafa and, maybe it'll bring out the best in Nikita. But from what I've seen so far, I've got to say no. I think those really top elite fighters, and don't put Michael Zarafa in this category. I see him just outside the top 15 of these ratings. I'm talking about the top 5 to 10 guys at that weight. I'm sorry, I don't see it. So I've got to put a cross beside Nikita. Not sure. Well, I am sure in my view. I don't think he'll win or is capable of winning a world title. And I know I'm opening myself up to lots of criticism here because I know a lot of people associated with a lot of these fighters, and they'll probably come at me, but I'm just being honest. Nothing personal. And I'd say the same thing to them. So I've got to say with Nikita, I don't think he's capable of winning a world title. So that's what I would say for Nikita. Number 9, I've got Matteo Tapia at middleweight. No, I'm sorry, I don't see Matteo Tapia winning a world title. I don't think Janabek, Lara or Adames, if they were in the same ring with Matteo Tapia, he would have a chance. I think he was lucky to get the Saavedra draw. Has looked really good, but again, they always say levels in the sport, levels in anything in life. And I like Matteo Tapia, but can he win a world title? I've got to say no. Put a big cross beside Matteo Tapia. Jeez, I can't believe I'm actually doing this. I'm sure I'll have people coming for me. But again, I'm only being honest. Matteo Tapia, make sure you comment on these, by the way, in the chat. And give me a yes or no with these as well. Number 8, I've got Liam Wilson. Difficult for Liam. Look, if I had to be pressed on it, I would say no. I really hope he gets another shot. I think that's what he's after. I mean, you've got, who have we got? You've got Nunes. Well, he's not rated at in the IBF, so count him out. He's still at light, junior lightweight, isn't he? Is he going up and, is he ranked now? Oh no, he's ranked WBO with Navarrete. Look, obviously he's capable of beating Navarrete. Wouldn't say he can beat O'Shaquie Foster, Lamont Roach, or Eduardo Nunes. Nunes maybe, but look, I just hope he gets his shot. He deserves it. Come back time and time again. He's had 2 disappointing losses, especially the Navarrete one. And obviously he decked Navarrete, and I thought he boxed really well against Navarrete. Style-wise, I think he's a good fit. Possible, yes. Will he? I'm not sure he even gets a shot at Navarrete. It is ranked number 4. Navarrete's got the Suarez fight coming up. I've got a feeling he's going to want some bigger fights than Liam going forward. So you never know. I really hope he does, and I hope he wins it. But it's probably a question mark. But if I'm pressed, I've got to probably say no. I'm not sure whether Liam's got enough left to beat the world champs in that division. But hey, again, I hope he really gets an opportunity. Number 7, Sam Goodman. Now, this is an interesting one. I think at featherweight, look, he put up a good show against Nick Ball. The other champions at that weight. So you've got, he's not, well, this is at featherweight. Angelo Leo, Nick Ball is obviously fought. Stephen Fulton, Rafael Espinoza. I don't think so. And of course, at 122, you've got the main man, Naoya Inoue, which is a big no. Now, I was really impressed with Sam. I really was in his fight with Nick Ball. And I think he's definitely proven himself to be world level. But geez, when you're in the 122-pound division, you got Naoya Inoue around. Well, no one's winning that belt, are they? Or those belts. So I think in a different universe or somewhere where Naoya Inoue wasn't around, I think Sam Goodman will be fully capable of winning a world title. And if he goes to featherweight and gets the right type of fight on the right sort of right night, right time of year, right stage of his opponent's career, you never know. But is he world class? I think he is. Yes, 100%. As is Liam Wilson, by the way. Definitely world class. But can he win the world title? Obviously, with 122, no. And 126, possibly. I was going to say questionable, but possible. Depends who he gets. Put up a great fight against Nick Ball. So, yes, potentially, yes, he could win a world title at 126, but not 122. There you go. Number 6, I have Andrew Maloney. Well, he's going to have a crack at it, isn't he? Because he is ranked, where are we? He's ranked, well, the 1 and 2 aren't rated, but he's ranked number 3, which makes him the highest ranked fighter for Willy Baldo Garcia, but he's fighting someone else. Who is he fighting? but he's not fighting Andrew. Andrew is ranked 4 with the WBC. Bam Rodriguez. I think he was mandated to fight Chocolatito Gonzalez, wasn't he, Andrew? And then you've got Jesse Rodriguez at WBO, and he's the #1 challenger. So Bam Rodriguez could be the guy who fights. He's ranked #1 with the WBO and 4 with the WBC. They're the belts held by Jesse Rodriguez. So I don't know. Now, I love Andrew. I love both boys. I don't think he beats Jesse Bam Rodriguez. But, geez, if you get him in with a Garcia or Fernando Martinez, maybe. I think he's definitely possibly in the running to beat one of those guys. So it depends on who he gets, I think. Andrew, world class, 100%. No doubt. But I think it depends on who he fights. No to Rodriguez, but definitely possibly against Fernando Martinez and Willibaldo Garcia. That's for Andrew. #6, Tim Tszyu. No, it's not. It's #5 is Tim Tszyu. Wow. I'm not going to spend too much time on Tim because we've discussed him ad nauseum, haven't we? We've given him a fair bit of play over the journey. A lot's going to happen with his new team. Obviously, is he world class? Obviously, yes. Is he capable of winning another world title? Well, at 154, excuse me. Let's have a quick look. Let's go through we'll obviously put a line through Fundora. Xander Zayas, yes, definitely possible of beating Zayas, but I don't think Zayas is going to be interested in Tim Tszyu at the moment. And then you've got, Murtazaliev's out, and Abbas Barrow, I think that's how you pronounce it. Maybe. The problem is he's not ranked with the WBA, so that's a problem. But look, I think we put all that on the back burner at the moment. Just letting him get back in the ring. But the one thing, is he capable of winning a world title? Of course he is. Of course he is. Is he world class? Yes, obvious. But a lot depends on who he fights, what champion he fights, and obviously whether he can correct a few things. So yes and yes for Tim Tszyu, but he's got some work to do. All right, #4, I've got Justis Huni. Yes, you're probably thinking, Justis Huni at #4, yes. I think he's our #4 pound-for-pound fighter. Very, very good fighter is Justis, but way too early for him to look at a world title fight. Is he world class? Yes, I think he proved that against Wardley. Can he win a world title? Look, it's going to be tough. Usyk obviously is the main one, but even if he doesn't fight Usyk, which I doubt he will anyway, but you've got the guys like Torres and Otama coming up and some other good heavyweights out there. Look, it's going to be a tough one. Is he capable? Yeah, of course he is. Is he world class? Yes, 100%. But a lot of things would have to go his way to win the heavyweight title, especially if he's got a stablemate coming up by the name of Jai Pataya, but we'll see. But yeah, no, I think he's definitely capable, Justis, and 100% legitimately a world-class fighter. Then we've got Jason Maloney at #3. Been inactive for nearly a year, Jason, I think it's been. And at bantamweight, so the IBF belt is vacant at the moment. Antonio Vargas is the WBA champion. WBC champion is vacant. These are Nakatani's titles, by the way, and Christian Medina. So yes and yes and yes and yes. Jason Maloney, world class. Can he win a world title? Yes. If he gets an opportunity, will he? I think yes. You got to remember, he hasn't, I know he's lost his last couple of fights, but they were against a certain style of fighter. Those really slick Japanese fighters he does tend to struggle with. And I think if he gets the right guy, I don't know much about Medina and Vargas, by the way. Nonito Donaire in there as well as the interim champion at WBA. Yes, I think hasn't been in too many wars, so I think he's definitely capable. And I think if he gets an opportunity, 100% Jason can win another world title. Then we have Liam Paro at #2. Geez, from what I saw the other night, he's got some work to do, Liam. I've gone through this as well with the review of the fight, so I won't go on about it again, but I was worried about his size and strength and power at 147, and the fact that, well, I won't say he wasn't world class because he was. This is Papo, but was he one of the sort of elite type of fighters? No, but I think, again, I'll put it down to the fact that it was his first fight at 147. He's going to have to work on his strength and conditioning, all that sort of stuff. Depends on who he fights. If I went through it, Crocker, I think I would still favour Crocker slightly. Ramiro's the one for me. Rolly Ramiro, I think Liam Paro can beat Rolly Ramiro. Mario Barrios, yes, he can beat him as well. Not so much for Brian Norman Jr. So, yes, he's world class. Yes, he can win another world title. It just depends on who he fights. I'm not sure. He's ranked #5 with the WBO. Not ranked with the WBC, although these ratings might be a little bit behind. Not ranked with the other organisations. So yes, 100% of your fights. So Crocker or Ramiro or Barrios, yes, he's capable of winning a world title. But again, got some work to do on certain facets of his game. Judging by what I saw the other night, I would have doubts, but I know he's a lot better than that. He just needs to work on the strength conditioning and a few other bits and pieces, and I'm sure he'll be fine. And then we go to the main man, Jai Pataya, at number 1. So enough said about Jai. I think obviously he's world class. Obviously he can win a world title, but can he go up to heavyweight and win? That's the big question. Yes, I think he can. And I think a lot of the people say, oh, come on, he's got no hope. But look, Alexander Usyk did it. And I think Opetaia is just as talented as Usyk. And I think he can carry the weight like Usyk did. And a lot of people say, the size. Well, hang on. Go back a week or so ago. Terence Crawford went up to 168 and won the world title against supposedly one of the best 3 or 4 pound-for-pound fighters in the sport, a legend in Canelo. Size doesn't matter. This is the thing that's been probably more adamant than ever, or appropriate for this time than ever, is the fact that if you're a good fighter, you're a good fighter, and weight doesn't matter. That's why I said before about Tank Davis. If he was really serious and allowed to do his thing, he'd knock Jake Paul out. Jai Pataya, look, Usyk would be tough. Let's just put that to bed. That would be a very, very tough fight. I'm not sure he'll get the opportunity to fight Usyk because he'll probably be gone by the time he gets up there. But can he beat all the other fighters? 100% he can. This is a supremely talented guy, and I know he's been a bit shaky in some fights, but who hasn't? Every fighter out there, elite fighters, had moments in fights. And everyone goes back to the Breeders' fight with the jaw. I just see it more as a positive of the heart and grit that he showed and steel in that fight. To get through against a very, very good fighter. So yes, and yes. So I'll just quickly go through the top 10. It was, so number 10, we had Nikita Tszyu, 9, Matteo Tapia, 8, Liam Wilson, 7 was Sam Goodman, 6, Andrew Maloney, 5, Tim Tszyu, 4, Justice Huni, 3, Jason Maloney, 2, Liam Paro, 1, Jai Pataya. So how do you have it? Let me know. Give me your thoughts. If your top 10 differs to mine, and who in your mind legitimately is a world-class fighter and can become a world champion. The pool is not as deep as maybe we're led to believe sometimes, I think. But give me your thoughts anyway. But anyway, having said that, guys, have an awesome Wednesday. We will catch you tomorrow.